disturbing figure regarding our job market. As of July, the unemployment rate stood at 4.1%. But according to data from the Ludwig Institute for Shared Economic Prosperity, the true rate of unemployment was actually at 24.9%. Now, the economic research firm looks not only at unemployed workers and those searching for a job to capture a relook at the labor market, but also those who are something called functionally unemployed. Now, that includes those who are involuntarily working part-time and who are earning poverty-level wages, or less than $26,000 annually, and that's before taxes.
So I'm just trying to figure out, when are y'all gonna open your eyes and realize that they've been lying about everything? They're lying about the numbers. They're lying about the jobs report. They're lying about how many jobs there are out there. They're lying about how many jobs that you can actually make a livable wage off of. They're lying about how many people are actually unemployed in the United States of America. They've been lying about everything, right? They've been cooking the books. Right? They've been cooking the books and telling you something that isn't true, right? If you just look at, I've made reports on this before. If you just look at the amount of millennials who now stay home, right? If you look at the amount of Gen Z who now stay home, the majority of these two generations cannot live by themselves. Even if they do go about and get an apartment or something, they're sharing that space with two other people. You have people who are sharing one bedrooms with one or two other people. Somebody sleeping on a couch, somebody sleeping in the bathroom, I don't know, right? Two people sleeping in the same bed. People are sharing spaces. People are sharing cars. At my previous job, I knew people who were sharing cars, vehicles with other coworkers. I knew people who had other coworkers when they get off, ride with them and take them to work, so on and so forth. It's not anything inherently wrong with that, but it just goes to show you just how hard it is out here. It's pretty smart, but that just goes to show you that many people don't have cars. Many people don't have homes that they can call home, right? Many people don't have jobs, right? The jobs that they're looking at, they are looking at the overall, jobs, as in they're looking at side income, they're looking at side gigs, they're looking at part-time jobs and saying, well, people are employed, right? They have something, right? DoorDash, looks like they have something. Part-time job at Wally World, pushing carts around, getting paid minimum wage that hasn't went up in the last 30, 40 years. Yeah, that's what they're talking about, right? They're not actually accounting for inflation. They're not actually accounting for how many people can actually live in today's world. They're not really basing it off of that. You could be making $2 an hour for all they care. Well, you got something, right? Listen, it is a messed up economy and there are no jobs. When you mix in the how many jobs that they're getting rid of, they're getting rid of hundreds of thousands of jobs, right? They're getting rid of thousands of jobs that have previously been here but are no longer here because they don't need them, or they're implementing AI to go ahead and do that work. I keep telling y'all, AI is here to come, and don't talk to me about no blue collar work. For you guys in the comment, don't talk to me about blue collar work. I just seen multiple videos of humanoids, hands, feet, everything, you name it, fibers, right? Able to turn a bulb, pick up a hammer. I've seen countless videos. Humanoids from China, humanoids from Tesla. You're next. You are next. It's going to come down to who's going to be able to survive, right? You may be asking this in your head. Who's going to be able to survive? The people who are going to be able to survive are the investors, business owners, and people who are already rich. That's it. Business owners, investors, and people who are already rich. And people who are already rich are probably intertwined between business owners and investors. If you are somebody who is relying on your job to be here in the next year, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, you're going to be sadly mistaken, and you're going to be out of a job looking all confused, looking like Scooby, looking crazy when they lay you off, looking crazy when they go ahead and close that factory, right? You still working at the warehouse. It is in due time before they automate all warehouses. That is right around the corner. Amazon already has entire facilities that are automated already. I remember there was a warehouse years ago out in the booms. And when I say booms, I mean the countryside, right? It's out in the country, away from the city. There was an Amazon facility. When I used to go to Amazon, it was another Amazon facility nearby. It was fully automated already. This was around a little bit after the pandemic, right? Around in the middle of the pandemic, right? They already had an automated warehouse. So for you guys that think that your job is safe, nobody's job is safe. Nobody is safe. Nobody is safe. And it doesn't even matter if you have an education at this point. It does not matter. There are people, I just read an article, there are people who are graduated from Ivy League with advanced degrees, Harvard degrees, Yale degrees, engineering degrees, law degrees, right? Who can't find jobs. They can't find jobs. The advanced skilled workers, they can't even find jobs. It has to be the worst economy since the Great Depression, right? But nobody's calling it how it is because everything is being propped up. The numbers are being cooked. Everything is being cooked. The stock market is being cooked. They're cooking the books, right? They're propping up this economy that literally doesn't exist. America, as we know it, is a propped up economy. It is not real. The money is real though. Right? People are really getting rich. Yeah, for sure. People are really buying cars. People are really buying yachts. Right? People are really buying expensive cocaine straight from Colombia. Right? People are buying that with real money, with real dinero, but the economy is not real. Right? Or should I say the second economy is not real. The economy where people are actually making money off of, because there's two economies in the United States if you didn't know. There are two entirely different economies. One people exist in, the rich, upper middle class, the elites, that's their economy, right? The people, the top 10, top 20% who own the stock market, who own the real estate, who own all of the asset classes, the majority of those people, they exist in a totally different economy than the people at the bottom, right? You and I, right? We exist in an entirely different economy, right? And it continues to get propped up on the backs of everyday people, everyday Americans, right? We're just propping up. We're paying into an economy that does not work in our favor. It does not. People need to wake up and smell the coffee. They're talking about a 25% unemployment rate, true unemployment rate. That is unprecedented levels. Right? If you've been paying attention, because you got to pay attention to all of the correlating news. You have to pay attention to all of the correlating facts and statistics, right? Just like I brought up that the majority of millennials, right? Gen Z, they're staying at home. They can't afford to be on their own. They can't afford housing because they can't find proper jobs, right? Then you look at the other stats. Marriages are plummeting. Right? People who should be having children, they're not having children. Why? Because they can't even afford themselves. Look at those facts. Then you talking about they talk about the male.
Welcome to the afterpill.co, your one-stop shop hub for everything that I offer. Whether you're here to book a one-on-one coaching call, join the Patreon community, explore Horizon Atlas, your relocation app, or access my latest content and resources. You'll find it all right here. Choose your path, take action, and start building the life you want.
Joblessness epidemic, male loneliness epidemic that coincide with that, right? They're talking about the young working class men, right? So we're talking about between ages of 18 to around maybe 35, 18 to 35. A good portion of those men are not in the workforce. They call them NEETs or something like that. Somebody tell me the acronym. I keep forgetting. Not in training, not in school, not in the workforce, right? Not doing anything. So when they start counting, who's actually unemployed, they're not counting people who have stopped looking for a job. They're not counting those people. They're not counting for people who just gave up. They're living off their mom. They're living off of papa, abuela, abuelo, right? Some of them waiting on their parents to die. They waiting on their grandparents to die so they can get a lump sum from the life insurance claim. Yes, they are. Right? They're not doing anything. They're waiting on GTA to drop. They're waiting on Call of Duty to drop. Right? They're sitting at home playing video games in the chat rooms, not doing anything. But at the same time, yes, is there a problem with laziness amongst, Gen Z men? Definitely. Low testosterone, low ambitious, low drive. Yes, absolutely. But then again, can you really blame them? Why would they participate in an almost slave system, essentially? Why would they participate in such a system where they're going to work for peanuts? Huh? They're going to work for peanuts on a dollar, pennies on a dollar. That's what society wants them to do. So at the same time, I do understand, why would somebody participate in an economy that does not benefit them whatsoever? Right? Outside of being a business owner, outside of being an investor, and outside of being born into a well-off family, why would you ask people? How could you ask people, young men specifically, how could you ask them to participate in an economy that does not want to pay them to be able to live in the real world? So many of them are saying, well, either I can go and make peanuts on a dollar, or I can just stay home, chillax, relax, smoke me a little ganja, smoke me a little marijuana, right? Drink a little bit, smoke a little bit, smash a little bit, right? For those of them who are getting some. But why would they participate if they can't be on their own? If it's not going to afford them to get their own apartment, if it's not going to afford them to be able to have a prosperous family, if it's not going to afford them to have a wife, if it's not going to afford them to buy a home, why in the hell would they participate? They have no reason to participate. And many people, not just the men, women don't have, much of our society don't have a reason to participate in today's economy. It's a joke. And degrees are completely outdated. I don't even know why they're still telling the kids to go to college. They're still doing that. Listen, being educated has nothing to do with going to college in today's world. Right? Maybe it meant something in the 90s, 80s, 70s, early 2000s. But to be educated, you don't have to be formally educated anymore. Right? That divide, I mean, you can close that with the internet. Right? Everything that is available, what they're going to teach you in the university most of your years, you're going to go through repeating some of the same ish that was repeated in high school your first 2-3 years. Right? You're not even going to get into your major until probably your senior year, your third year. Right? And of course, if you get more into advanced degrees, then yeah, it probably matters then. But outside of that, they're not much of what the education that you get at a collegiate level, you can find that ish on the internet. Literally, you can study just about everything that they're going to charge you $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a year for. And that's a fact. Right? Whatever you want to learn. Hell, you can transform. I can transform ChatGPT right now. I told ChatGPT, I said, I want to learn Dominican Spanish, not just regular Spanish, because Dominicans have their own lingo. They have their own way of speaking Spanish. I said, hey, I want to transform you into a Dominican Spanish learner or whatever. And I can literally do that. I still have a tab open to where me and Chat practice going back and forth in Dominican Spanish. So you mean to tell me if ChatGPT can do that, it can't teach you how to do algebra. It can't teach you some history. It can't teach you how to code. You can use many of these applications to code now. There's nothing that is not out of reach now, right? Education, I mean, really means nothing anymore, right? Because it's everywhere. Right? It used to be that you had to have access to education. You had to have money to buy access to education. You can get access to whatever you want now for a subscription of $9.99. Hell, you don't even need that because Gemini is free. You can log on to Google and talk to Gemini. Right? Education is everywhere. The information is everywhere. Knowledge is everywhere. So they no longer need that anymore. Right? What makes people stand out now? right? And this is what people probably have to figure out now. What makes you stand out besides you having a bachelor's in philosophy, Ninja? What makes you stand out other than you having a engineering degree like a million billion other people who came through school and got an engineering degree, right? You don't stand out anymore with education. You need more than education. You need a little something else, right? But then that little something else, you can't apply it to the traditional workforce because the traditional workforce have not caught up to the technologically advanced workforce that is coming in, right? The technological advanced society that is coming in, it hasn't been transformed into that yet. And that is also why a lot of people are failing behind. A lot of people are not catching on because they have yet to understand what is happening, or they can't fathom what is happening, or what is happening is moving too fast for them to comprehend. And that's going to cause a lot of people to get left behind. It is what it is. And that's an after pill. Listen, the after pill is the ideology. The escape blueprint is the framework. And PFP life is how you should live. In purpose, in freedom, and in power. Listen, if you need some guidance on how to survive in this new and upcoming age, hit the link in the description. Visit the website, theafterpill.co. Scroll down and book your one-on-one coaching call to be able to receive that guidance, to be able to receive some more knowledge and a personalized experience and a play-by-play book on how to get your life on track and how to live your life in an ever-changing world and a new world at that. And I'll see you guys on the next one. And I'll see you guys over there as well. Peace.
Welcome to the afterpill.co, your one-stop shop hub for everything that I offer. Whether you're here to book a one-on-one coaching call, join the Patreon community, explore Horizon Atlas, your relocation app, or access my latest content and resources, you'll find it all right here. Choose your path, take action, and start building the life you want.